Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream. It is our midday live that we usually do on Thursday, but not quite midday, is it? I had to move it slightly later, but either way, we are joined by Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Chris, how are you doing, mate?
I'm as happy as a pig in poo, mate. I really am. It's great to come on here and look. We know there's lots of things to talk about the game, but let's just enjoy the fact that we've won, and we just didn't sneak it. We actually, there was a 2 goal difference, and they were, got theirs in the 90th minute. Just enjoying it. It's good. I never thought I'd see that performance again this season while Cooper was here, and we didn't. It had to take a change of manager to bring it in.
Yeah, last time we talked, mate, we were very much Ruud hadn't been confirmed, but we knew that he was coming in. I was a little bit upset that he wasn't in place for the Brentford game. And I think even more upset after the Brentford game, probably than before it, that he wasn't in place. But for one training session to go out and put a performance like that in, just fantastic.
I was fuming after the Brentford game because, look, your new boss is sat up in the stands watching you. You've got 90 minutes to put a performance in. And look, Ben Dawson was in charge. He's never managed a team. He was only a coach, etc., etc. So we were never going to go out there and win 4-0. I've got to give Ben Dawson a bit of credit for actually trying something. Do you remember when we sacked Brendan Rodgers and we had Adam somebody, I can't remember his name, that came in?
Was it Sadler?
Yes, could well have been, yeah. And basically what he did was he took the squad that Brendan had been using, didn't make any changes. He took the formation and the tactics that Brendan were using and didn't make any changes. At least Ben Dawson tried to do something. All right, it didn't work, but in a perverse sort of way, they always say, don't they, you learn more about players when you lose than when you win. Because if we'd have won that game, Ruud might have sat there going like, it's actually not that bad. I don't need to do much here. He saw us at our worst, and that was our worst for me, the worst performance I've seen all season of us. And he saw that, and I'm just thinking, if he can do what he did after 2 days, what can he do in the rest of the season?
Yeah, my thing is that Brentford game was always going to be a difficult game, but why I was so upset and so annoyed after that game is players walking around, players just looking like they didn't care whilst your new boss is in the stand. But then flip that to Tuesday, and like quickly on that game, everyone was saying about Luke Thomas doing very well, and he was probably the best of a bad bunch. But I hate giving players credit for effort, because for me, effort should be a non-negotiable, like bare minimum. And he was getting credited because he worked hard and ran around a bit.
Yeah, look, like I said, and I'm going to say, agree with that. But what I'm going to say as well is at the end of the game, when Ruud came out, like I say, he didn't bask in the glory. You know, he took the fact, yes, we've won, etc., etc. But he said, but there's work to be done. There's still a lot, wrong. And I thought, yeah, fair play to him. He could see that. And look, if Ruud gets us to 17th again and just we stay up by 1 goal difference, he'll have done his job. But I feel more confident. That's the sort of performance that we'd seen Southampton. Although the Southampton were losing, they were putting the performances in. That was like Ipswich against Spurs. We hadn't. That was the best performance of the season. And like you said before, not exactly a high bar to hit, but yeah, it was. Honestly, I was the Cheshire Cat for well, I still am.
As you say, it wasn't a high bar, but it's just you want something to cling on to. And what worried me under Cooper is we were getting gradually worse, and everyone behind us was getting gradually better. But that's the first time this season that I've genuinely, even when we've won games, felt really positive after it. But I'm going to get into the game in a little bit more detail in just a second. I'm going to jump into the live chat. So, Caleb, how are you doing? Yeah, we've finally won. Can I come on, please? Not this show, mate, because I just have Chris on for this one, but potentially in the future. Tony, Chris Chris is looking younger. It's like because his camera's blurry tonight.
I'm not even going to rise to that.
Oh, but I do.
Is my camera looking blurry?
Oh, it looks better now. It was like pixelated for a second.
There we go. Look, I'm lit up like Jesus.
It's just Christmas time and everything, mate. They do say, what was Chris is looking as if he's been on a mega diet, allegedly.
I was thinking that when you look at your logo that you start the show with, you do look a little chubby on that, mate. You look better in real life than you do on that logo.
You know what's the worrying thing? That logo was done whilst I was still going to the gym most days and playing football and rugby pretty much constantly. So what you're saying is a diet of drinking quite a lot, minimal exercise is the way forward to get into good shape.
I've survived 63 years living that way.
Daz, how are you doing, mate? I hope you. Oh, well, told you Bilal would come good. Mate, Bilal was unbelievable on Monday, and I think he's he's definitely one of our better players and one of the players that we need to be looking for the future.
Funny, isn't it? How you give players a chance and you players play in the roles that they are supposed to be playing in, and it's amazing that they actually play well.
Yeah, exactly. Prashant, I'm still buzzing, mate. I just, it's nice to be on here, Chris, not just moaning, actually having positive stuff to be talking about. And I said to Neil, and I said this in my vlog as well, that even if we went on to lose that second half, that first half of football was the best half of football I think we've seen all season, barring maybe Southampton away.
Yes. Look, there's negatives, of course there is. If you want to be really, really picky, you could say this and say that. But our previous 2 wins, with Bournemouth, I was away for Bournemouth, I was in Australia, but from what I can see is, our best defender there was the woodwork. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like I say, I didn't see the whole game. Southampton, let's be honest with you, they should have been out of sight in that first half. They were West Ham were like a team that just had a vasectomy. They were just firing blanks. They weren't anywhere near our goal. But the thing was that we'd lose the ball, and that's got to be something that we've got to look at. But we fought for it back. We were going for the second balls, which I've not seen us do for a while. Vestergaard got one between his, in his gentleman's department when he slid in for a tackle. They were literally. I said to you, didn't I? The busiest man was the groundkeeper picking up all the body parts because they left them out there on the pitch. It was the performance that we've been looking for all season.
It was, and I also think the fact we went 1-0 up within about the first 2 minutes probably really helped with that. Because
yes, it did. Yes.
Up the ground, there was a feeling of excitement, but it felt also quite tense as well. As soon as that goal went, it almost felt like sort of a weight had been lifted off the shoulders. But I think it was very naive defending from West Ham, but it was trademark Jamie Vardy.
I've got a couple of mates on here that are West Ham fans, and I'd been chatting with Rob from West Ham Massive. He did my preview show, and his brother was on his channel. And when they was talking about us appointing Ruud van Nistelrooy, he came on and went, "Well, you might as well just go down now and get relegated." So you ain't going to stay up with him in charge. So I've enjoyed going back on and going, "Hi, Bob, how you doing? How's your brother?" They want Lopetegui out. I mean, he's doing a show at the moment. Apparently, Lopetegui will be there for Monday night. I think that's going to be the sack game. Whoever loses that, I think, is going to get sacked. So it'll probably be a draw, and nobody will be any better. Apparently, they think it's going to be Potter. They really think that Potter is going to come to them. Apparently, the rumours are that he's been offered a short-term deal and he's turned that down. He's not going to just want a short-term deal. But I predicted 3-1, so I'm going to sit bask in the glory that I know what I'm talking about.
A broken clock's right twice a day,
Hey, bum. You've been listening to Brad too much.
That's worrying, isn't it? Because that's one of his phrases. But
it is. Yeah.
Like, before we even look at the tactics of the game, the thing that I was most impressed with was the attitude. It's like every lost cause players were running after. Yes, they were making mistakes, but they were working hard to rectify those mistakes. I think it was Bilal lost the ball and ran the whole way down the pitch to go and try and recover the ball. It's like stuff like that. I hate praising because I think it should be a bare minimum, but it hasn't been.
That was the performance I expected to see against Brentford, knowing that the players knew that their new boss was in the stands watching them. And that was the level of commitment that I expected to see from the players, and we didn't get it. And look, we can say, well, yes, it's only West Ham, and maybe if it had been Liverpool, we wouldn't have got the win, etc., etc. But look, you can only play who's in front of you. West Ham were awful. They did have a very, very high line, which the fans hate with the defence. That first goal, like you said, was typical Jamie Vardy. It was as tight as the proverbial, but it was given. And we all love VAR now. And it was the perfect start because you could almost feel... I haven't, and obviously I watch the games. I'm not at the ground from where I live, but I've never heard... I know there's been many games where I couldn't even hear the Leicester fans when we've been at home. There, you could hear it. It was almost like this huge weight had been taken off the fans' shoulders with that goal.
Yeah, and I think also as soon as we did go 1-0 up, the players seemed like they were playing with a little bit more confidence, just a bit more of a swagger in their step. And it's like, as much as West Ham aren't great, they've still got some very good players. Like Jared Bowen, I think, is one of the top wingers in the league. I think, they're not, in terms of individual players, they're not a bad team. It's just under Lopetegui, it's not clicking yet. But to limit them.
My Iceland delivery man is a West Ham fan, and he came round and he said Moyes had to go, a bit like Brendan Rodgers. They loved him for what he'd done for them, like we did with Rodgers and the FA Cup and what have you. But there comes a point where the manager's got to go. He had to go. Lopetegui probably came in because of his few games at Real Madrid, but he wasn't the manager they wanted. But you've got to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Saying that, I have had this has been me, with a lot of your likes of Jamie Carragher, etc., saying careful what you wish for, Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
This has been me most of the week, to every little comment like that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I was listening to, and I normally like Simon Jordan on TalkSport. I love him. He's controversial. He says what he believes, and he backs up what he says. Whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him, he doesn't just say things without backing it up. Now, he said that, he was surprised, and he thought Cooper had gone too soon. He said that Ruud got the job purely on the two performances against Leicester. And he also said, what management experience has he got? Well, he actually has got more experience than Enzo had when he came in of senior management. He'd done his time going up like Enzo had through the youth teams and the coaching. But he'd actually coached a full season at PSV, and he'd actually won a couple of trophies with them. And like somebody said before, he just talks the good game. Look, and I know we'll come on to it later, but look, if you can get Cobra Reed putting the ball in the net, and if you can get Daka, I mean, for God's sake, that was prime Messi. Left foot, wasn't even his main foot, top corner of the net. Bloody hell, if anybody can get a tune out of Daka, it's got to be, a striker like Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Did you see the story that came out earlier today of Ruud saying that he tried to sign him when he was PSV manager, but they didn't have the money to do it?
Yes.
It's like,
And he knows what Daka is capable of. And look, we know what Daka is capable of. But sometimes you just need a manager to come in, and Daka is very much a arm around the shoulder sort of player. And I think Ruud is the one that can do that. I mean, if he can score goals like he scored that one, that was brilliant. It really was. Maybe, like I said to you, I think before we came in, every player starts with a clean sheet now. As much as it hurts me to say, even Dakova, Reed, and Edward, everybody starts with a clean sheet because a new manager comes in, like Enzo when he came in. Look what he did with Ndidi. Look what he did with Vestergaard. So this new manager comes in. It's a clean sheet. And you know what he got us doing better? He got us defending. Because if you ain't going to defend well, you ain't going to win any games.
Bang on. But, with that Daka goal, I loved everything about it. Because he came on, and even before the goal, he was working at, like, chasing down every single ball, like, relentlessly hard. But he nicked the ball off the West Ham defender. I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, those are the kind of, like, when Vardy was at his absolute best, where he would just chase down every ball. That reminded me of Vardy at his best so much. And then the finish, I will be very honest, I had zero confidence when he went through that ball was going into the back of the net. But it was a brilliant finish.
I totally understand why. I think there's you and 99.9% of every Leicester City fan felt the same way. The Daka from last season would have put that in Rose Ed. Or the Daka from last season wouldn't have won the ball because he wouldn't have been going in for it. But that's what I'm saying. We were fighting for every ball. We weren't always winning it, but we were actually fighting. We weren't standing off. And he nicked that ball. Reminded me very much, you remember the Samari when he scored, how did it, Samari, when he set up the goal, when he beat a striker. Was that Southampton? I think that was Southampton. And Samari won the ball.
Ipswich, wasn't it? The last minute equaliser where he sent the Ipswich
Ipswich. And, Samari was going to win. He was determined to win it. And Daka, I mean, he went for it. And most time, the Daka we've seen all season and last season had got to the point where, well, it's the defender's ball. I'm not going to go for it. So fair play to him for going for it. Shows what he's got, which is the speed, like Vardy in his prime. Like you said, I didn't think he was going. I mean, I was getting excited, but I didn't think he was going to actually put it in the back of the net. On his weak foot, what a sweet take. And if Ruud van Nistelrooy, like I say, can get Daka to do that, who knows? Europe.
I sarcastically said in Jack's stream earlier, get the blue ribbons on the Premier League trophy again. But
let's not get carried away, but I do totally know where you're coming from.
No, of course, I'm not getting carried away, but we are winning the treble and the absolute lot, of course. But,
it's great, though. It's great to even joke about it, isn't it?
It is. But I thought it was very evident from the start, though, that there were similarities to Enzo's style, where we were trying to play out from the back, trying to move the ball, obviously, across our back line and open up space. But it wasn't a hill that Ruud was going to die on. If it wasn't on, he was happy for the ball just to go upfield and to play the long pass. Which I thought it was a really nice balance and a really so after one session to see the fact that yes, probably long term we will be playing out from the back much more, but he's also happy for it to be mixed up.
Yes, and do you know what I mean? There's so much has obviously come out in blogs and papers and everything. But have you read the one where he wasn't overly happy at half time and he went in and changed things?
Yeah, I did. And I like the fact that he's not just changing stuff if we're losing, when you're winning and still being proactive.
100%. I mean, isn't it nice to have a manager that knows what they're doing? A manager that doesn't wait until, the 88th minute to make substitutions. Exaggerating, but you know what I mean. And no, it's great to have a manager that actually understands tactics and can go in there and go, well, all right, yeah, we're 1-0 up, but because there's always a but, and to actually do that, I think I'm so excited. And you know what? we're saying like Monday's game between West Ham and Wolves is the El Sacchio, and Everton, who knows, they might get fed up with throwing dice if these new owners finally take over. Southampton may finally get fed up with Russell Martin ball. They are all clubs that could have potentially been going after Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, this is a conversation we had last time. It's like we needed to act fast before we ended up with, no disrespect, in the same pool as Dean Smith and Jesse Marsh, where we were last time. Because the longer you waited, the less talented the managers would be. Because Graham Potter, I'm convinced, will either end up at Wolves, West Ham. I think he's probably slightly above Southampton's level, to be honest. But he's got Wolves or West Ham written all over him.
I think he's got West Ham written all over him, because if he's still living around Brighton, or Chelsea was a London team, it's a very short journey, Brighton up to London. I think it is that. Did you see, interesting, because he was at the match, he was like on Amazon's reporting team.
You've not seen the little clip?
No.
I'll send it to you after about you had your chance. Now fuck off.
But, I mean, I was looking and thinking, what the hell is he doing there? But obviously he's hinting, and we don't know how true it is, that maybe we didn't approach him.
Yeah, potentially. But something that's very interesting, after the outcrying of how that Steve Cooper's Messiah and Leicester should be grateful that he was here, not one club has mentioned Steve Cooper as a replacement. Funny that.
I did suggest it to West Ham. I won't tell you what their reply was. It was no in the. I said he'd put a list up of who he wanted as his manager, and it was a poll. And I went, I don't see Cooper's name anywhere on there. But yeah, I mean, I think he'll be out of work for a while now.
I think his next job will be a Championship or League One job.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's a Premier League level manager. But again, he's yesterday's problem. I'm not too concerned what he's doing now. But outside the ground, when I do my instant match reaction, I normally say who I think man of the match is. I genuinely, there was I listed 5 or 6 players, but you could genuinely make a case for all of them, which it's so nice that it's not just, Luke Thomas ran around a bit, I'll give it to him. Because I think El Khanous was brilliant. I think Ndidi was fantastic. Samare likewise. I think Christensen, that was his best game in the Leicester shirt. Obviously, Daka got his goal. Mads Hermansen was brilliant. So it's like across the board. And I don't want to get too carried away because there's still a huge amount that needs to be done in terms of the defensive side of things. But the fact that there was a genuine conversation for 4 or 5 players that you could name as man of the match.
Been a while since that's been the case. Normally we're scrambling around to who the hell are we going to give it to. At the end of, obviously I do the watch-alongs, and at the end of the match, there's 4 of us in. Kate joins us from the ground, and Alan, who goes to every game, home and away, is the official man of the match award person. We actually had 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 6 of us, and we had 4 different man of the matches. That's how difficult it was.
And the thing is, I bet you none of them sounded ridiculous either.
Oh, I mean, I've got to say, Brad and Kate both went for El Khanous. An assist and a goal. In fact, so did Jim. He went for El Khanous as well. Wayne went for Mads Hermansen. I went for Ndidi, which was a complete 360-degree change from what I said about him after the Brentford game. But look, I call it as we all call it as we see it, don't we? For the Brentford game, I wanted him taken out, like I say, professionally by a hitman. And Alan, who does the official one, went for Sumari. Hey, we've just had a lot worse on our prediction league. Don't worry. He went for Samari. So you've got none of those, and we're all saying when we were choosing them, we're saying, yeah, I can understand why you went for that.
Yeah, it's a nice position to be in, but just before we move on from the West Ham game, the one bit that was a concern.
Let's talk about it for the next 5 hours. I'm just want to enjoy it. Might not happen again. I want to enjoy it.
I happily would. I really, really would. But one bit that was a concern is the amount of shots that we faced, and I do think that it was slightly inflated towards the end because I think they were just getting frustrated and taking pot shots and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
But 30 shots is a little bit of a concern.
Yes, it is, but Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. As we said, when any new manager comes in, and you're usually getting a new manager because your team is underperforming, the first thing you've got to do is sort the defence out. And oops, you've got the high chair broken.
Maybe.
Hey, come, that was an open door for me, Ant.
It was.
I'll carry on. The first thing that you've got to do as a new manager coming in is sort the defence out. That's not going to happen overnight. Yes, there was 31 shots. Only 10 of those are on target, so they could have been shots that ended up near the corner flag. But do you know what? They had 31 shots, 10 on target, 10 off target. I'm not sure how that works. Oh no, yes, I see what they're doing. And 11 of them were blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I say, Christensen got one in the men's department when he went in to try and slide tackle to defend. They were doing that. They were throwing themselves in. Indeedy, I've never seen him getting in the way of so many balls before. But so what is that? By the time we come to play Liverpool and Man City later in the month, hopefully those sort of things will be be a little bit easier. We won't be quite as bad. We'll have had time to work on it. But at the end of the day, the biggest stat is 3 goals to us, 1 goal to them. And it took them until the 96th minute to get it.
I'll be honest, I've never seen more muted celebrations for a goal in my life. I've not even think West Ham fans cheered.
Look back at my watch along. I was celebrating like mad when they scored because I'd gone for 3-1 in the prediction league.
Only you.
I'm going to turn. I'm going. Come on, West Ham, just get a consolation. Come on, you can do it. I celebrated more than when Leicester scored. 3 points for Leicester, 3 points for me in the prediction league. Thank you. Good night, Vienna.
I did think West Ham looked much less of a threat as soon as Bowen came off the wing because he played as a striker in the second half, and it's like he was the only player in that first half that I looked at and was worried about because he was running on the ball a lot. As soon as he went down the middle, I know they had their shots. I genuinely didn't feel worried at all.
No, and look, you'd usually be saying, well, 31 shots. We were looking from behind the sofa. I've watched back at my watch along, and I can't say that at any point I was worried. And I know we got that early goal, so it then would take them 2 to come back and take any point and all the points off us. But I never thought they actually looked like scoring.
No,
it was West Ham. I think the important thing is as well is that if you look, anybody from Man United down in that table, we've not lost against.
Yeah,
that is so important.
That is very good. Yeah, looking at it now, yeah, you're right with that.
I know. I'm surprised you doubted me, sir. How very dare you?
I'm so sincerely sorry. Did that sound very genuine?
Sorry?
Did that sound very genuine?
No, it didn't, but I'll take it.
Great foresight from Daka to envision his goal. Yeah, Daka's goal was brilliant. I think all 3 of the goals are very good for different reasons.
There were. But I think because with Daka, when Vardy was going down, you were getting you almost thought he was going to score. You almost knew he was going to. The second goal was a good team goal, but the Daka's goal, it was because it wasn't expected, like you said, and we said we expected it, what I call doing a schlup. I expected him to put it in row double Z, and he just took it, and I'm so happy for him, really, really am, because look, we know I think there's a good player in there.
Mm-hmm.
We know he can score, but I just think he had the confidence, and I think Enzo, fairness, has to take a little bit of the blame here. He should have maybe taken him out of the spotlight, because when he came off in that Plymouth game last season, he looked absolutely downcast. He really, really did, and he should have been taken out the limelight.
I agree with that. Just goes to show the level of management that Ruud is compared to Cooper. Players' new tactics and followed them after one proper training session. Fair play to the board for making that choice. Yeah. Like, I think it took more balls for the board to go, actually, we've got this wrong with Cooper and rectify it, instead of trying to just sort of hang on and hope for the best.
It takes a lot of ball, and everybody was, well, again, not everybody, but some of the pundits were saying, well, if they're replacing Cooper now, it means they've made a mistake in appointing him. Well, yeah, clubs do that. Wolves could look and say, well, they did wrong in appointing Gary O'Neill. West Ham with Locapiga. That's the risk you take when you get a new manager. When we took on Martin O'Neill, we didn't know how good he was going to be or how bad he was going to be. That's the risk. Look, I think I've got to be very careful, because with Cooper, I don't want to sort of make this about Cooper, but I said he was one of my three that I wanted, but never really felt excited by it. But with Ruud, like Dad said, cry. If he can do that in 2 days.
Yeah, I do wonder, though, how much of it, because I know it was different than Enzo's football, but how much of it was muscle memory?
Sorry, say that again, sorry.
I wonder how much of, what we saw on Monday was like muscle memory from Enzo's style of football.
Well, if it was, it was. I mean, look, Enzo's doing well at Chelsea. I don't think he'd be doing that well if he was still at Leicester. It's a different class of player he's got at Chelsea. Ruud, has come out and said, he plays a lot that way in possession. And let's be honest with you, Cooper came in and changed a hell of a lot all round. And they just basically had a season getting used to this new system. They're all used to it, and then hang on, we're going to play a different system altogether. It's like when Claudio came in and took over at Leicester. He didn't make a lot of changes. He just tweaked things here and there. And I have a feeling that's what Ruud might be doing, because he said himself he plays a similar sort of style. And yeah, so again, if he's going to do performances like that, keep it up.
I hope Vardy can reach his 150 Premier League goals under Ruud's watch. That would be great, wouldn't it? If he could, and as Stu says, if he could beat Owen's record, Fulham are 3-1 up against Brighton. That's interesting.
Wow.
I think it's interesting that Brighton.
Sorry, I just want to throw this in about Vardy. He is now the 15th Premier League top scorer, and he's the 12th oldest Premier League scorer.
Mad, isn't it? The records just seem to keep coming, don't they? But
yeah, and I love the fact that Ruud, when he was at the press conference, the first thing he said was about, I went up and I said to Jamie, look, we've got to talk about this and get this out of the way. I love it. He's actually got a personality.
Yeah, it's nice because it felt like under Steve Cooper, he was a really nice bloke, but it just was like you could have written the answers of what he was going to say before the questions were asked.
It was the same thing week after week, wasn't it?
Why talking about Potter? Because I think it's somewhat relevant when we're talking about West Ham, and he looks like he's going to be the next West Ham manager. The best thing about this move, at least Cooper didn't leave us buried. Yeah, and that was the important thing, to get Cooper gone before he very much could have left us in that situation. And I think he would have.
I think he would have.
Yeah, because I agree. It was only going one way with him. Bilal El Khanous is the new fans' favourite. He seems to absolutely love the fans as well, and there looks like a real talent there. Really, really does. Well done, boys. Good chat. Thank you, mate. FaZe is always one that the fans go to. My issue with FaZe, as I say, it's a fresh start for everyone. Is his attitude when he makes mistakes of the arms up in the air, and I cannot stand that.
Watching FaZe on a regular basis, I look like Dorco's profile picture. You got to put it up now to see what exactly that's me having watched FaZe. I mean, he got absolutely savaged by the Belgian press for his work. You know, when he played for the international break, I think it was against Spain. He did not put one tackle in the Brentford game. He's a defender, for God's sake. And I think that Ruud and when he came on, that was like, I wasn't that disappointed when Dakova Reed came on. I was more disappointed when he brought FaZe on, but I understand why he did it. I think Cooper never had the balls to go Cody Vestergaard at the back. And you're looking at that and going, on Cody, you can say didn't. Well, who had a good game at Brentford? Let's be honest with you. But I mean, Cody, that clearance off the line, for fuck's sake, that was Hamza-esque. That was. I mean, it was literally over. I don't know if you must have seen that, obviously, since you come, since after you got back from the game. But you've got the two most experienced defenders there, Vestergaard and Cody. Cody's ex-England, for God's sake. Yes, they've both got the turning circle of the Titanic, and they're not the fastest. But you've got the experience. And if you use them right, and that's the key, if you use them right, that experience is what we need.
Yeah, for me, I still think, and as well as I did, and I absolutely lost it with Connor Cody after the Brentford game as well. To be honest, I lost it with a fair few in my match reaction, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
I still think we are crying out for a centre-back in January, though.
I think a Coley could fill that, but not yet. I think he's still learning. I like Vestergaard, but you do need somebody that's got a bit of speed next to him. Can we survive? Could those two, survive if we're playing against a Liverpool or somebody like that? I'm not sure. So I probably would agree with you. I think we've already got a centre back at the club that we could use, to be honest with you. But that's just my thoughts.
Is that going to be Ben Nelson?
No, because he's injured, so he's out for the season, isn't he? It's Sutar.
Oh, but we can't recall him now, can we, either?
Can we not? Can't we recall him in January?
Chris Wilder was saying that because he's played a certain amount of games, there's a clause that if he played a certain amount, we can't recall him.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, there we go. That shot my plan down the drain, because I don't think he's been given a chance, to be honest with you. At the end of in the long term, that could work to our benefit, because I think he's a good defender and he gets up and scores goals at the other end as well. So yes, in that case, we probably do need to go out and maybe loan somebody, because we've got Nelson coming through. Say he's injured for the season. But yes, and I think, there's rumours that Edouard's loan is going to be cancelled.
That would be...
If that happens, I will go to church twice on Sunday. Dakova, everybody's going to get a clean shot, but Edouard, we need... Well, do we need somebody else up front now? Daka seems to be turning into primetime Ronaldo.
My thing is, I would still, even if Daka's not the answer, I still think a centre-back's a priority over a striker.
No, I agree. That the defence always has to be the first thing that you sort out. Because, like I say, if you're not conceding goals, that you could go and win the game. But you're not going to win a game if you keep conceding loads of goals. So yes, hurts me to say it, but I agree with you.
We've been linked to centre-backs and right-backs, haven't we? We've been linked to that Japanese lad who's a right back. Can't think of his name, but
I wouldn't mind another right back in because I do prefer Justin on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, Thomas. I know everybody starts with a clean sheet, but I think Thomas's time is coming to an end at the club. I think if you got Justin and Christensen, both of them play better on. Well, obviously Christian does, but for me, Justin plays better on the left. And Ricardo's just a sick note now, unfortunately. So I think we do need another right back as well. For me,
yeah. The thing that I worry about with James Justin is I think there is a good player there, but he just looks absolutely short of confidence. And it's like, how long can you keep saying that it's confidence when it's... But then it's a difficult one because you've got no one to drop him out of the team for. You know, like you said about last year, Enzo probably should have for Daka, but there was options to drop him out for. With JJ, there's no one that you can drop him out for.
This is the problem, isn't it? You know, I mean, Christensen's thrown a bit of a spanner in the work because he had a good game. But I mean, JJ can play both sides. And look, maybe again, different manager with a few different tactics might not leave Jay. You know, if Ruud can sort out the central defensive players, JJ might not be left so exposed. You know, when you look at one of those goals that we conceded against Brentford, he was caught out of position. Faze was just chasing thin air, and the player just ran through the two of them. If you've got somebody there that can do better than Faze, because Faze to me, I'm sorry, it's not. He's had his chance. I know he did well last season. That was in the Championship. He didn't do particularly well last time in the Premier League. For me, it is taxi for Faze, and he's the one that we need to replace.
Yeah, and he also seems to have this attitude of being too good for the club anyway. Do you remember that interview before the World Cup?
How can I forget it? 100%. He thinks because he's a Belgium international and this is the golden generation for Belgium that he's somehow better than he is, and he's beginning to believe it. When you look at, Bournemouth have just gone 2-0 up against Tottenham. So I completely got Brighton to beat Fulham, and I've got that to be a draw, so I'm not getting any more points in the prediction league. But like I say, you know, when the Belgian press are absolutely tearing a strip off one of their own defenders, as they were, although in fairness, the Danish press did the same with Vestergaard over the international break. To me, he just doesn't bring anything to the team, apart from a very nice hairdo.
I hate the arm waving. Yeah, I can never get on board with that.
We need to get on.
Yeah, El Canouse looks like a serious talent. To be fair,
with El Canouse, I just wonder because I don't think we're going to keep Buenete, and if Brighton do decide to sell him, I don't think we'll be able to afford him, and I think there'll be bigger clubs probably coming in for him. And as a World Cup winner, and they say never fall in love with a loanee, don't they? But we are doing. But I think when Buenete does move on, it's going to be El Canouse. That's his spot nailed on.
Yeah. To be fair, we did play 4-4-2 at times against West Ham when we didn't have the ball.
4-4-2 when we don't have the ball, I think is what Ruud said, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I'd take a mid-table finish right now.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Unpopular opinion, I'd really like an Umbro kit.
For me, I'm sorry, bring Admiral back. Oh, it's been no VAR. It's still 1-0 to Bournemouth. It's been ruled offside, or ruled off for whatever reason. I like I'm an Admiral fan, but I'm a lot older than everybody else. But I do like Adidas, I must admit.
I like the match shirts for Adidas, but I don't really like, like the hoodies and the training gear. You don't seem to get anything particularly great from that.
It could be worse. Do you remember when we had JJB as our shirt manufacturer?
What's the one that had the collar that I can't remember who made it, but it was one of my favourite shirts. I think it was the one where we just got promoted the first time. Is it Berda or someone like that?
Baruda,
that's it. Yeah.
Baruda. Yeah.
I liked some of what they did.
Look, we've all got our favourites, haven't we? I could take you way back to before you were born and pick some of my favourite shirts.
Back in my day.
When I was a lad and I lived in a cardboard box on motorway eating gravel.
Tuesday's performance can highlight the team's capabilities. Even with blips and bad performance, can always look back to the 3rd of December for confidence. Exactly. Leicester will finish 7th. I'll take whatever you're on, Matt. I absolutely love that.
I'm on cider, mate. What are you on?
Mate, I'm on the orange squash. Strong stuff for me.
That's why I've got a stomach that's bigger than the centre circle at the King Power. I just hide it. The camera only goes down to there.
I feel like I'm missing a fair few comments. Dump with VM Table. We have to go for Ruud van
It was a
Nistelrooy
combination, though, wasn't it? It was
it wasn't
4-4 attack.
No, it was a lot of fluid changes of formation.
Fluid changes. That's a word that the two words we never thought we'd say in under Cooper.
Yuri suffered from that same malady, although he won the FA Cup. Phase not so much, but Yuri and there's a couple of players, and I said Mahrez as an example when I was talking to James. They could get away with sort of throwing their arms up in the air and stuff because they had that match. Like, I never liked it when any of them did it, but certain players, you just think, yeah, but you could change a game just like this, and you've got like the world at your feet.
Yeah.
Well, Phase, you are not
Mahrez, when he did it, it was like it was almost like keep up with me. Can't you understand what I'm trying to do? With Phase, it's just so it's the blame's deflected off him, I think.
Bang on, I'm Brandy. Mayan, you think we're going to get 6th? I mean, I'd love it, but
I love your confidence, Mayan. I really do. Fair play, mate. Fair play.
Rich, how are you doing, mate? I hope you are well. Moving on from the West Ham game, we had the FA Cup draw on Monday night.
Yeah.
Was it Monday night? Tuesday, whenever it was. At some point,
it was Monday night. Monday night, the draw was 7 o'clock.
QPR at home. It's a winnable game, but it's just a bit boring, I think.
Yes, and at that time, because obviously we hadn't played West Ham, I was doing my Premier League review show Monday night, and somebody put in, I'd forgotten that they were doing the draw, and somebody put it in, and my immediate reaction was, well, that's us out the cup then. If we can't beat Walsall, but of course now we're seeing this. I mean, it could have been. Look, all games against lower division teams are a potential banana skin. We're at home, which is the main thing. QPR are really struggling in the FA Cup. They won't be bothered about going any further because their main aim is to stay in the Championship, which it seems to be every season. There is their aim. So it's definitely winnable now under Ruud. And look, it's not going to be our number one. If QPR do a surprise and knock us out, look, nobody will be looking because they'll all be looking at the Man United, Arsenal, or whatever. There's about 3 Premier League games ties. But if we get knocked out, is it the end of the world?
No, it's not. But obviously, you don't want it to happen. But for me, FA Cup 3rd round, I always want something that's slightly different. And I feel like it just feels a little bit flat because it's a fixture we had last season.
Yes, I get that. I suppose. Look,
Because
we couldn't get past Warsaw without Danny Ward's help, could we? So, let's not
Danny,
jump to
Danny Ward. Yeah,
the super goalie. We're seeing the real Danny Ward. He's only good for cup games. Um, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's one of those I didn't get particularly excited about it, but it isn't one that I'm looking. I mean, look, let's say we'd drawn Telford or somebody, Newport. No disrespect to them, or somebody in the lower leagues with Steve Cooper. I wouldn't have thought we were going to win it anyway, you know. Um, so it's winnable. I want to win it. I want to win every match Leicester play. Of course I do. But if we do get knocked out, there are bigger fish to fry. Obviously, if we do win it and we do have a good draw, because there's going to be a lot of Premier League teams that are going to not be knocking each other out. Obviously, the confidence that a cup run gives you because you're winning games. So
yeah. And it's an opportunity for some players, your likes of Will Alves, etc., to actually get some minutes.
yes, indeed. I just hope that Ruud. I mean, Alves wasn't even on the bench on Tuesday, which was a bit disappointing to see. But look, in Ruud we trust now. I think Alves will get his chance. But the midfield we're a bit oversubscribed in midfield, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. This is why I've seen some of the, and I think these are fan led rumours more than anything in it, of us trying to get Dewsbury Hall on loan in January. It
Oh,
feels
there's
like,
Dewsbury Hall, and there's also Barnes as well.
for me, these should be the lowest priorities. And I love Harvey Barnes. I think he's a brilliant, brilliant player. Dewsbury Hall, I'm again very grateful for the season we just had, but I think Harvey Barnes is a level above if you look at what he's achieved in the Premier League. But I can't remember who this comment was to that I made it on Twitter yesterday. If we're going to go and get one of the old players, go and get Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire would be a brilliant signing for us in January, even if it's on loan.
The thing with Kieran Dewsbury Hall and Harvey Barnes, if we took either of them back, I'd be delighted. But they're not priority positions. I know Fataru's out, so we could be moving wingers around and what have you with Harvey Barnes, but it isn't it's not areas we need to look at. Like you say, it's the defence. I'd go and suck Harry Maguire off, to be honest with you, if he was going to come back. That's how I would want him back.
I didn't want to have to think about.
You're not going to see that now, are you? Having said that, you'd be very disappointed because obviously we all know Soyunchu's got the bigger appendage. But you love having me on, don't you? But Maguire, I mean, I would, all joking aside, I would jump for joy if we got Maguire back. And of course, Ruud's got those Manchester United contacts, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I'm sure he's still got Harry Maguire in his mobile phone.
Do you think?
Well, no, yeah, I think it's got to be in his phone, definitely. Whether he would, to me, Man United would probably hold out for a ransom for him, but I didn't see it. Has Anarim been playing him at all? I've not seen.
He has. It's one of the ones that I saw, and again, I think this is a fan-led rumor more than anything, is Victor Lindelof from United. I would happily take either of them.
I'm not a Lindelof fan, to be honest with you, and not because I've seen him and I don't think he's very good, but he just doesn't seem to be getting much praise off Manchester United fans. I mean, if Rich is still in, he may tell us otherwise. So I will accept that I might be wrong on that. But I just think, look, Harry knows the club. I just love him back.
Yeah, I agree with that. If I could choose between the two, I'd definitely say Harry Maguire. But
Yeah.
moving on to
Would he come for the money though? Because we couldn't afford his wages. That's the thing.
if we could do what West Ham did a few years ago with Lingard, where went on loan, but I think West Ham paid half the wages and Man United paid half. If we could do something like that, I think it would be well worth it.
I think it's all going to be down to Amarin and what his plans are, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. But looking ahead, mate, we've got Brighton on Sunday. It's a game that worries me because I think Brighton are a fantastic team. But at the same time, we need to be these kind of games at home. We need to turn the King Power into a fortress if we want to stay up this year.
We do, and I'm just looking here because, of course, they lost to Fulham away tonight, 3-1. They had the majority. They had 56% possession. Again, they had twice as many shots as Fulham, 13 shots to their 6. Only 3 on target though, and the goalkeeper didn't have any saves to make, so might be a bit of a misleading score, that one. Look, I like Brighton. I'm impressed with what Brighton. I like to see these sort of teams doing like a Leicester and challenging, up at the top and what have you. They're still sat in 6th, despite that, or they're 5th. Sorry, they are. Do I think we'll win? Yes, because I'm back to I actually got to the point with Leicester where I needed the points in the prediction league, and knowing under Cooper that we're going to lose, I always predicted us to lose because I know I'd at least get a point then in the prediction league. Where now I've gone back to thinking, well, all right, we might not win this game, but I'm still going to do it because it's Leicester. And I'm going to vote for a win for us under Ruud. So I think we could cause a surprise. Like I say, if he could do that in 2 days, what's he going to have been able to do in a week? And let's not forget, today is Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Brighton are going to go back on. They have 2 days at home. We've had an extra 2 days because we played on Tuesday. And they've got an away game tonight and then another away game on Sunday. And it's 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. So that won't help them. I'm feeling mildly confident.
I am. If we were heading into this game under Steve Cooper, I'd be saying we're going to get our ass handed to us. But yeah, I think we've got at least a bit of a chance in this game. And I think Brighton are a fantastic team. But it's just my only worry about Tuesday. You know, how many times have we seen like a manager's first game where it's a new balance, players are running like at their absolute what's off, and then they don't follow it up in the next game. That's my only worry about the Brighton game, because even if we go ahead and lose that game, for me, I don't want to say I won't care because that's the wrong way to say it. But if we see that same effort and see that same desire and same energy that we saw on Tuesday, regardless of the result, I'll be happy.
Yeah, it is the performance. I'll tell you something else for you to worry about. Of course, we won't be able to play Brunetti.
Yeah, obviously he's on loan, isn't he?
But who needs Brunetti when you've got El Canouse?
I think then you probably start Mavididi, don't you?
I would, personally. I mean, I like the fact that he went very attacking in that game. I think that's the way to go with it. I didn't think McAteer had a bad game, to be honest with you. I mean, the commentators had a few things to say, but I thought McAteer did all right.
I thought he was a lot better defensively than going forward. I still think he lacks real composure and quality in the final third. I think
he did set up El Canouse, though, for his goal. Let's not forget that.
He did, but this is where I think assist stats are a bit. I'm not the biggest fan of assist stats.
I know. I'm being a tad sarcastic.
Fine. The thing is, have you seen the Messi clip? I think it was with Sergio Busquets, where Sergio Busquets plays literally half a yard past Messi. Messi dribbles through about 5-6 players, scores a goal, and obviously Busquets gets the assist for it.
No, I haven't seen that. But yeah, no, I mean, assists are, I mean, let's be honest with you. You take a corner and it's headed in, you get the assist.
Yeah.
It's a free kick. You take the free kick, it goes in, you get the assist. It is what it is, and I was just kind of, having a dig at you, winding you up a little bit, but
What? Oh, yeah, we just said that one. I don't think we'll get a win. I don't think we'll win, but I'll go with a win. Is that what I said, or is that what Chris said? I don't know if that was me or you that said that, Chris.
I think that's more you. I think.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
No, it might have been me actually. It might. Oh, I don't know.
Right, so let me know. Was that me or was that Chris? Let us know. I think it would be a draw for Sunday's game. My worry is Leicester should get overconfident and cocky. I would take a draw 100% if it was offered right now.
I think so because of where they are, and So I agree.
Where are they in the league? Actually, they're
Fifth.
Fourth. Oh, fifth.
Fifth. Yeah, because they just lost to the fifth at the moment. They've won Brian. They've won 6, drawn 5, lost 3. They've scored 23, but they've conceded 20.
Oh, so they can be got at by the sound of that. Then.
Well, Fulham have just got at them. Looking at that, I mean, the stats don't tell you everything, but Fulham have just put 3 past them.
Yeah. One game, and I feel better about the direction of the club. It is mad how one game has had such an effect, isn't it?
Yes. Shows how low we were, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Guys, please do leave a like on both streams. I've got Chris's link in my titles to go and check. Go and do that. Go across to his channel, leave a like, and vice versa if you're watching on Chris's channel. Normally, this is at 1 o'clock at lunchtime on a Thursday, but unfortunately, I just couldn't do it today at lunchtime. So we are recording slightly later, but I think we've
it's
just
1 o'clock somewhere in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll go with it, mate. We'll go with it. I think we've just about covered everything, mate.
Yeah. All I'll say is let's just enjoy the moment. Until 2 o'clock on Sunday when we kick off against Brighton, and maybe it all goes wrong. Maybe the new manager bounce will have gone. I don't know. We won't know until Sunday. But let's just enjoy it until then. Let's just watch the West Ham fans squirm and moan and complain about their manager. I mean, let's have a look. We're winning. Let's put a smile. Let's have a smile on our face.
Exactly. Let's, as Neil said to me when he was at the game, let's just enjoy not being crap.
Fair enough. That sums it up. That's what we end on, surely.
Guys, thank you so much to everyone who has been watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care, guys.